Hello, everyone. My name is Carl, and today I will be talking about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It was developed by Retro Studios in collaboration with Monster Games and published by Nintendo for the Switch on May 4th, 2018. It is a port of the original 4 years earlier, which was released on the Wii U. It'll run you $59.99 and is rated E for everyone for mild cartoon violence. It is the latest in a long line of Donkey Kong Country games, and it is specifically a direct sequel to the Wii game Donkey Kong Country Returns. And in this entry, Donkey Kong and all of his pals are blown out of his house on his island by the mysterious Viking-esque group called the Snowmads. So Donkey Kong and friends need to make their way back through the hordes of snowmads and take back his island. So I've never really cared about Donkey Kong games in general. I don't think I've ever really played one before this. But because I had money and this is Nintendo and I had been hearing good things, I picked it up. Um, Actually, the first time I played it some, and then I played the co-op mode with my brother, and then I got sick of it. And I'll talk about a little bit why that is later. But I got sick of it and I stopped playing it. Didn't think it was worth like continuing. And then later it was voted by my viewers to play it on stream, so I did, and I finished it. And I'm glad I did. So gameplay wise, this is your classic side scrolling affair. Run, jump, avoid enemies, jump on their heads and take them out. You can do a roll attack. You can pound the ground. You can pick things up. All that good stuff. And sometimes you get access to either Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, or Cranky Kong, who gives you 2 more HP and the ability to navigate in the air more easily. Diddy Kong gives you a jetpack. Dixie Kong lets you kind of helicopter a bit with her ponytail, and Cranky Kong lets you pogo stick with his cane. So obviously you want to get those, and then that adds to the depth of the platforming experience a little bit. Um, I want to get, before I go too far in, on why I actually stopped playing. So it all has to do with the co-op mode. And the co-op mode, you have one person controlling Donkey Kong, player one, and player two controls whoever the other Kong buddy is that you get. Now, usually, you lose 2 hearts, you lose the Donkey Kong, the buddy, the other Kong. It's not Donkey Kong. And then you get hit twice more as Donkey Kong, you die, and then if you have a red balloon, that'll bring you back to the last checkpoint, and then you'll continue with 2 hearts, and if you get another power up and another Kong power up, then you get 2 more hearts. But if you're playing with a friend, then you get 2 hearts as Donkey Kong, and they get 2 hearts as whatever the other Kong is. So that means instead of you having 4 HP before you die, you have 2, and you share lives. And as soon as you die, immediately a balloon, which is like a life, brings you back. And so as long as you're not both dead at the same time, you're okay. But what that ends up doing is just burning through your balloons. So when I was playing co-op with my brother, we went to a boss fight. We were just kind of farting around, burning through our balloons because we knew, okay, as long as we didn't die both at the same time, we were fine. And I ran out of balloons, and the checkpoint system isn't too bad. Um, but if you don't have any balloons, you have to start the entire level over. So I ran out of balloons, and we kept like dying and having to restart the entire level, which sucked. So interestingly, you don't really want to play this game co-op. It's actually harder and more frustrating. So I played my own playthrough all the way through, just a single player. So that's what I would recommend. I when I played single player, I had so many balloons at the end. I had like 60 some odd balloons at the end because you just don't die that much compared to like the amount of balloons you can get. Because if you a lot of times there's a checkpoint and then a balloon right after it, so you can just die and then make sure you get the balloon and then you're net neutral. So, yeah, play it single player, interestingly. All right, so now that I've talked about my complaints of why I left it, How's the platforming itself? And I'm not much of a platformer guy. I don't think it's the deepest gameplay, but I had a lot of fun with this one, actually. It was really well designed. There were a lot of challenges that felt hard and challenging, but not ridiculous. It was very rare that they threw me into an area that I just did not understand like how to navigate it, and I just died a lot because I genuinely didn't get what was going on. That didn't happen a lot, which is really good for games like these. Also, like I mentioned before, unlike say Mega Man 11, the checkpoint system is a lot more forgiving. So you have a lot more fun given that you're a not restarting the levels over again, and b there's not a lot of like, oh, I died, I have to do this section that I already completed again. It's nicer. There's more checkpoints, so it doesn't feel like you're losing heaps and heaps of progress each time you die, which is good because sometimes, okay, while you may understand what you were supposed to do, you just didn't react fast enough, or you're not really like used to it or whatever, or practiced, so you die and you want to get a quick practice again. You want to practice that section as quickly as possible again. There's nothing worse than getting wrecked by a section and then having to redo this old section that you already know how to do every time before you get another crack at practicing the new one. And there's not a lot of this in this game. um, there were some underwater sections that were not annoying, surprisingly. There were some auto-scrolling, like minecart, like hop over things, a rocket where if you press A, it'll like adjust the pitch of the rocket, and those were also doable. On If you're really skilled, you can do them first try. I think I did not, obviously, but there was not a lot where I was like, oh frick, I did not see that coming up, and I had no idea how I could have known to dodge that. It was more, okay, I see what's going on. Oh, I'm not good enough. I failed. So that's really good, and that's paramount, I think, with platforming games, right? You can make platforming challenging and hard. That's a good thing. Like, you don't want it to be an absolute cakewalk, generally speaking. But depending on where your checkpoints are placed, if you can't, like, if they're too far apart, like, you're just going to get discouraged and you're not going to want to play the game because it's going to ask you to do the same section over and over and over again. The boss fights as well were really nice in that while you did have to start them over every time you died, like, you felt more practiced, and the more you go through and the more you push through it, the more practice you get, and the more you feel like you've improved. So I really appreciated like the progression there, and it made it really satisfying to finally beat the boss, and it made it not as frustrating to try to push through the boss because it's like, okay, well, now I know this. This is easy, nice. I'm getting there. So it did its difficulty really well. So kudos to that. And before I finish up talking about the gameplay, I want to say that there is a new Funky Kong mode that they added right here to the Switch version. I don't know why they kept the exact same title, like no subtitles or anything, no deluxe, no HD, no nothing, um, and then added more modes, but you won't find that in the Wii U version. And it's basically just a thing where you can play as Funky Kong. He's got more HP. He never drowns underwater. He's got infinite air, and he can like ride along spikes. He can walk on spikes. So it just cuts a lot of the difficulty. I never played it. I promise I played through the entire game with Donkey Kong, and it's nice to see an accessibility mode if maybe you're someone that's new to video games or you're just not good. Onto the story. Of course, this is a DK game. I've pretty much described the entire story so far, already in the review, because it's not, there's no twists, there's no turns. Donkey Kong gets blown out of his island. He has to get it back, and that's it. He has to beat the people and get back there. There is, I believe, a secret extra world if you collect all the collectibles in the levels, but I didn't do that because I did not want to. So yeah, no story really. Graphics and art style. This is one that I actually really liked the art design here because you can take art design and art style in a game and you can just put it in there and say, oh, that looks pretty. But if you really want to take it a step further, you make the art style, the art design, and the graphics a part of the platforming, of the gameplay. And in this one, you have like an old-timey community with windmills that you have to jump along. There's platforms on the windmills, on the actual blades, so you have to jump along. There's one world where it's a savannah that's caught on fire, and so you have to dodge around all this fire stuff. There's another world that's like a fruit juicing plant, and so there are giant cleavers that chop fruit down, and there's conveyor belts carrying like melons and stuff that you have to jump over. So that's really cool because you not only get this sense of atmosphere of like looking at a cool background, but the background comes and takes an active part in the gameplay, and that I really really love. There's also some cool like silhouette sections where everything is silhouetted except for like little things that are colored pastel, like you can see DK's tie. So it's really easy to tell what's going on, but it just looks really striking and really cool. So good on Donkey Kong for thinking outside the box. Music wise, I know I mention every single time that I'm not a music guy, but I actually really like the music in there. There's especially one track where it's like early on where there's like a harmonica, and it really gives you a nice sense of like starting your adventure, and it makes you feel like you're there. It makes you feel like you're a part of the game a bit, which I really appreciated that. I mean, if you can make music that I can listen to and enjoy and actually acknowledge, like, hey, I like this part of it, I think you're doing a good job. Because, like I say, I'm not a music guy. There's no DLC for this game, so I don't need to talk about that. On to my conclusion and recommendation. Given how much I enjoyed the game a second time around, I'm really glad that I didn't give up on it permanently. I'm really glad that I gave it a second chance. I mean, I played this relatively recently, a few weeks ago. Not as retrospective. I had skipped over it initially, so I'm glad to have come back to it. It doesn't do anything, I think, that's like too terribly groundbreaking in the platforming genre. But there's really not a lot that I have to complain about this game. There's not a lot that I think that this is awesome, awesome, awesome. But there is a lot here that I'm like, yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I really liked what they did here. I had a genuinely good time with it. Um, so yeah, I think overall, especially given how there's an easy mode for accessibility purposes, I think anyone can really enjoy it. So, feel free to go pick it up. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's an excellent game. So yeah, uh, do you think I'm right? Am I full of garbage? Am I giving this a fair shake, or do I have stars in my eyes for some reason? Let me know down in the comments below, because I read all my comments. But regardless, stay safe out there, folks, and have a nice day. Bye.